Annalie Reyes.
And I'm your co-host, Santi Hernandez.
And on today's show, we'll be talking about recent news of the COVID vaccine and how college students are going back to campus this coming fall. But before we do talk more about this topic, Santi will be discussing the quote of the week.
Yes, so my quote of the week is, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." And this is by Malcolm X. And I decided to choose this quote because when we're going to be talking about going back to school, I know that for for students right now, it's all at home, but you guys they're giving the opportunity for you guys to go back to school. And with that, education is super important. And we've talked about this with Annalie before, that if you're educated, it's harder for people to bring you down or take advantage of you. So education is very important, and it's always good to continue our education because with that, we can build so many new things and have the future that we want. So that is all for me. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would also say that preparation is very important if you want to be in a certain place at a certain time. For me, I personally, as a student, I'm a senior right now. So as a freshman, I was hearing about college. And so I had to prepare myself and try to find the most resources out there so I can get the experience of what I wanted to see what I wanted to do in the future. And that gave me a good idea of what I wanted to do in the future. So anyone who's listening, who's a senior, not a senior, but a freshman, make sure you prepare yourself. And just in general in life, it's important to prepare, and it's not always good to procrastinate as well. So I know procrastination can go well, but it's always good to prepare, and you enjoy more of it. You're less stressed about it. So anyways, thank you, Santi, for mentioning this quote of the week. I really enjoyed it. Gave me inspiration yesterday as I talked to you about it. But now we'll be playing the PSA, and we'll be right back.
Wildfire season is here again. Pacific Gas and Electric will turn off electricity when there is extreme fire danger to reduce the risk of wildfires. Marin residents need to be ready in case of prolonged power outages. First, you can sign up to get notifications about planned power outages. These will tell you when the power outages are likely to happen and how long the power will be out. To receive notifications, text your zip code to 888-777. Second, be sure to have a working flashlight, enough food and water for 3 days, and other necessary items stored in your house and or your car. Third, learn about how to prepare to keep your family safe in case of a wildfire or extended power outage. See emergency preparedness information on the readymarin.org website. Please text your zip code to 888-777 to get on the alert system today.
Welcome back. That was the PSA. We hope you found it helpful. We actually got it recorded from Santi Hernandez, so it was pretty nice hearing her from it. And now we'll be talking about some recent news of the COVID vaccine. I will first start with the new travel restrictions. Some of the restrictions are still the same, but there's some that has changed because a lot of people are getting the vaccine. I heard that ages 16 and up can get their vaccine. So there's a lot of changes coming soon. So I'm very excited about that. But I wanted to say that most U.S. states allow people to travel with no COVID tests, but that's certain states. And then few countries allow people to travel with no COVID-19 test if and only if they're fully vaccinated. And these are countries like Guatemala. And what I mean when I say fully vaccinated is it's considered to be 2 weeks after your second dose if you took the Moderna or the Pfizer. I know that Johnson & Johnson got discontinued a few weeks ago, but that one was 1 dose. And so for you to be considered fully vaccinated, you're, after 2 weeks of being vaccinated, you're fully vaccinated, if that makes sense. And then some states have limitations like California, Maine, Vermont. They either require you to have taken a viral test 1 to 3 days before travel or be fully vaccinated. And for that, you have to show your card of the CDC saying that you were fully vaccinated for up to 2 weeks after you got your second dose. And I just wanted to give a disclaimer that traveling is still not recommended at this time. It's only for essential travel, meaning family emergencies where you need to take care of a loved one, or it can also be medical emergencies. There's still COVID-19 variants. And I recently was looking up online like how much coronavirus variants are there, and there's quite a lot, to be surprisingly. And we just need to be more careful to not spread those variants as well, because that's another mutation of the COVID-19. And then it might not work for your vaccine because the vaccine has different DNA, like for that purpose of that COVID-19 vaccine. So it's important to, stay careful with all these things coming up with a pandemic. And it's better to not risk yourself or others if traveling is not an essential. And that's all for what I wanted to say. Santi, do you wanted to add anything, or what your thoughts about this whole situation?
Yeah, so I traveled during the the pandemic, and it's so hard traveling right now because there's so many restrictions. When you travel, you need a COVID test and all of that. So with the vaccine, they're easing up a little bit to those who have had their full 2 doses of the COVID vaccine. My recommendation is always stay safe. If you have already got both shots, continue to protect yourself, because not everybody has the vaccine. So it's very important to still travel and be aware of what's going on. And at least we have an option as of right now, because before, when the pandemic started, we couldn't travel. So now that we have this option, just be mindful to those around you, and again, still continuing to protect yourself.
Yeah, I also wanted to add that airlines are trying to keep the guidelines as well, and they also block the seats. I'm pretty sure when you traveled, they had block seats, right? For distance.
Unfortunately, something interesting during my travel experience is that I traveled due to a family emergency, and we had to get the COVID vaccine. The COVID test within 72 hours. However, when we were in the plane, I traveled with American Airlines. I don't know where the other airlines, but I traveled with them, and we were seated next to people. So, which is why I'm saying still be aware and cautious and protect yourself, because when I was traveling, we were seated next to different people. If it wasn't family, it didn't matter. We were seated right next to them. That was my experience. And just, again, be mindful of your traveling. If it's really necessary, travel. If not, if you could stay home, again, stay home. Because when you're traveling outside of your state or county, you don't know the other counties you're going into. That's the downside about traveling right now. You're not aware of what's really going on.
Yeah, in some cases, there's different places where they have a high rise of COVID cases. So you have a higher risk. So it's better to stay home. And of course, there's different variants. So if you were to catch that and spread that to a different county, that would be dangerous.
Yes. And speaking of the vaccines, like you mentioned, there's right now there's just the Moderna and the Pfizer. Fortunately, that according to the CDC, about 5 million people have not taken their second shot, which is crazy to hear. And it's concerning because the first shot does not mean you have that immunity of COVID. You need to get both shots to be able to get that 98, or I don't remember the percentage, to be able to get that that percentage of protection against COVID. which is very important. And it's kind of, I guess, it's hard with traveling because people might think that, oh, just with getting the first shot, I'm okay to travel, I'm safe, I'm protecting people. No. You have to get both shots to be able to have those, opportunities to be able to travel and have those eased up restrictions.
Mm-hmm. And also, the Johnson & Johnson, it's one dose, but that vaccine is very different from the Moderna and the Pfizer, so that does not mean that you only have to take one dose from the Pfizer or the Moderna.
Yes. And I do understand one of the main reasons why people haven't taken their second shot is because it's a lot stronger than the first one, and it does come with side effects. Maybe the first one, you had your shot and your arm was hurting. It's like sore after a workout, and you're like, oh, it's not painful, just sore. That's how it feels to get the first shot. The second shot does have a little bit more of side effects. Different people react to different things. That's also very key with this. Javier, our co-host, is here with us today. He's in the back. He's doing all the technical stuff. He took his second dose, and we wanted to make sure he's okay, and we told him that if he doesn't feel okay to do the show, he can, be in the back, and that's what he's doing, and he's feeling okay. But again, with the second shot, you're gonna probably get side effects, and his was just fatigue and being kind of sleeping all day, but it's normal. Okay, yeah. Same thing, for example, with me. When I get the flu shot, I get sick. So just pointing it out there that I totally understand to those that are afraid, and that's the main reason why they haven't taken the second dose, because of the side effects.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say that I took my first dose, and I had a different experience of side effects than other people, so I definitely can relate that it's different for everyone. And CBS also interviewed the public and found that many are afraid of the second dose, like what Santi has said. And I also can say that some people can't take the second dose because of factors with their work or complications. And I totally agree with that it can be complicated. But always try your best to make up that time. I know they give you a date in advance for you to take the second dose. So just make sure you can be prepared, and like in the quote said, be prepared for tomorrow. And it's important to be prepared to get that vaccine, that second dose. And also, I wanted to say that it's normal to get side effects because it shows that your immune system is reacting. So that's a good sign as well. It's not always bad, and it just means that your body is working well. It's trying to attack the virus or the bad stuff that the vaccine gives to help the immune system get better.
Yes, and with that vaccine, 3 days ago, the CDC also announced that people who have been fully vaccinated, so gotten both their shots, can take off their mask and not wear their mask in outdoor places where it's not too crowded. So let me explain what crowded is. So concerts, stadiums, and huge business meetings. So if you're in those areas, still wear your mask. But if you're doing activities outside where it's not very crowded, you are okay without wearing a mask. And again, like I mentioned, you might have the vaccine. However, not everybody does. So just being aware of that and just topping it all off with my point of view. This is so hard to talk about. The vaccine, COVID, when this all hit a year ago, we did not know what were we going through. We didn't know much about COVID, and then they were creating the vaccines. So to everyone, when we talk about this, I've seen and I understand that there's two sides. Some people are afraid of getting the vaccine. Some people have already gotten the vaccine. And sometimes with that difference, we attack each other like, oh, because of you, we can't get better, or no, I'm scared of vaccine. The unknown is scary. It's very scary. And for me, I was a little iffy about taking the vaccines. However, my point of view is let's respect one another's decisions and opinions, because we're allowed to have our own decisions, make our own decisions and opinions. So, like I said, the unknown is scary for a lot of people, and it's okay if you haven't taken your vaccine. Do your research. So the quote, going back to the quote, education is preparing for the future. So get educated, learn more information about the vaccines, about COVID. And if it's something for you, do it. And if it's not, totally understand. Just my point of view on that. Annalie, what do you think?
I like I said before, I respect everyone's thoughts and opinions. I'm not gonna, put you down. It's your own life, your own decision. But like I can just recommend what you can do. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's your life. So that's all that I would add. But next we'll be playing the song by Incense and Cologne, Beautiful Lies, and we'll be right back.
I can't possibly, I can't freak, keep it 100, that's all for me. You poppin' ain't thanks for me, what you want from me? But if it wasn't for you, how would I show you I'm out? I come from California, California. I mean, I go through shining like a star in the sky, man. Have you ever been to South Dakota? With a beautiful sight, man. All the seasons through my time. Oh, don't tell me lies through those beautiful eyes. How can you tell those lies behind those beautiful eyes? A beautiful picture.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the song. I'm currently now going to talk about students going back to school. Both Annalie and Javier. So Javier he's a senior in college in SF State, and Annalie is a senior in Novato High. So they are currently giving them the opportunity to go back to school, and I want to ask Annalie some questions regarding that. So first of all, back to the vaccine, it's that if you're 16 years or older, you can take the vaccine already. So that kind of goes into play with going back to school. But I wanted to ask Annalie, how are you feeling about going back to school?
Yeah, so like you said, you were nervous about the vaccine. I was also nervous going back to school because it's like a different change. I was kind of used to the flexibility of the time at home, and like you don't have to take time to get ready. You can sleep in. A lot of people like sleeping in. I typically was waking up early just to do homework, but I really liked how it was flexible. Like I didn't have to worry about transport. I know a lot of people were worried about transport because they have to go to school like through the bus or have to leave early. Because the time schedule has changed. We actually start at 9, so there's a bit of flexibility. People can sleep in. Usually, like last year, I believe it was at 8 a.m. that we started. So, it was a big change. And so it's a whole different process of how school is going. But at first, when we were going back to school, there was 2 groups separated. There was Group A and Group B. They separated people through their last names, and my last name starts with an R, so I was in Group 2, and I had to go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. During that time, I did not go because, first of all, I didn't have friends in my group, and I was kind of nervous to socialize back again because you're just used to being like, I don't know, I was isolated in my room because, like, all I did was watch videos, do homework, sometimes chat with my friends. And so, like, going back was nerve-wracking but also exciting. And so they said that they were going to do full-on, like, both the groups going together after spring break. So I decided to just go, and my friends were going to be there. So it was actually, like, the first day actually went really well. I can say that it was very exciting to see my friends. I used to pick on them, and then I'm so happy to see them. I actually was screaming their names when I saw them because I was so excited to see them. It's been like a year seeing them, so it's crazy to just see them and then seeing how they're doing well. And it was just a nice experience. And also, I only had to take 2 classes that day, so it wasn't that bad. But that's all I have to say.
Wow, I know. Well, when I was a senior, like the pandemic just hit. We were in complete lockdown. So I didn't get to see my peers again until graduation, but it's in their cars. And it's crazy. And you mentioned about interacting with your friends. So what are the new protocols for interacting with students, so your friends, your peers? And then teachers, how is that? How do you guys work in the classroom?
Yeah, so there's an app called Crisis Go. And this app, you have to, if you're 18 or older, you can do it yourself. If not, then your parents have to take note of how you're feeling every day before you go to school. And so they're just going to ask if you're feeling well and you don't have any symptoms of COVID-19. And if you do, there's like some checkbox where you click on it, and then they give like a QR code. If it's green, you're good to go. If it's a different color, then they might check on you, I believe. But it's something to keep track on, I think, for the school administration to know how the kids are doing. And some teachers are vaccinated. Some students are actually vaccinated, so that's cool. And for AP Chem, my class, we actually have like screens just to be extra careful. And I fortunately have my own desk, so I don't have a screen, but that's pretty nice. And for PE, it's quite different. We're not really running because we have the mask, so it has to be like a light workout or a light game. And we have to use equipment that we're not sharing all the time. And so it's quite different. And yeah, and we have to like sanitize every time we use equipment and clean the desks. And that's what's been happening for the protocols for students and teachers.
Wow, it's a different experience. And to the seniors, either whether in high school or in college, I know it's hard. It's hard to kind of come to terms with what's going on because senior year is supposed to be kind of like you're graduating. When I was a senior, I took it as a moment where I was like, whoa, all of these people that I've been with for 4 years, we're going to go in our own direction. And it could be the last time that I see many of these people. So when we were stuck at home and unable to do so many things, for in my experience, we couldn't see each other. All of our senior events were canceled. Our graduation was on hold. We didn't know how it was going to be. We ended up having a drive graduation, like a drive-through. And then we didn't get to have prom, and we didn't get to have I don't know about you in Nevada, but we had a senior awards night, and we didn't end up having like that ceremony. And there were so many activities as a senior that they hype you up for it because like, oh, you're a senior, this and that, yes. School dances, school events. So to all the seniors, I know it might be hard and it might be challenging because you're waiting for the moment, and how is that with you guys? Like, what is it? What are you guys going to do for graduation, prom, and other senior events that you guys are supposed to have? But with the pandemic, how has that changed?
Yeah, so for prom, I don't think we're having it, but I think they plan on, like, in 5 years, see each other again, but I'm not sure about that completely. For graduation, we just did, like, a survey of what options we would like, and we had the drive-in, and also, like, the normal graduation where we all go in and graduate, and then there's people out in the outside of the field, in the bachelor. How do you know?
The bleachers?
The bleachers. There you go. So yeah, there's certain limitations. For different options, there was, like, if we wanted to separate in 2 groups, or if we wanted to limit the guests. So there was many different options, but we have not gotten a determination about it. And we recently do have, like, we had events. We recently had the beach bash, which was just going onto the field with your friends and then playing games, and then you got candy, rewards, bubbles. So it was quite nice. It was fun because my friends were there. But yeah, they had to sanitize every time like a group played. They had to sanitize just to be on the safe side. But we also have, like, a movie night coming on soon, and so I think they're gonna put the movie in the field, and we just go on our separate ways, and we all watch it together. And for that, we need permission from our parents to watch it, or if you're 18 or older, you just sign the paper to watch it. We're actually watching Black Panther, so it's crazy because I actually didn't watch Black Panther yet. So
What?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I've heard a lot of comments about it, so I'm really excited to go watch it.
Yeah, and to just hearing that, I know, like I mentioned before, to all the seniors, it might be very hard. And it can cause a lot of people to go through certain things. And speaking of challenging things, we've been in lockdown for over a year, and you've been isolated, and going back to school and getting to see a lot of people can cause a lot of challenges mentally and physically. So with that being said, and with your mental health, just always checking in and seeing if your mental health is okay. Because like I said, we've been isolated for such a long time, and then just going back into public can be very hard. And I have a very close, one of my best friends who she's been isolated this whole time, and she has panic attacks and anxiety just going to order something at the store, and she freaks out, and I've gotten to see that. So if you are feeling anything, please don't feel scared or it's embarrassing to ask for help. No, please ask for help and take care of yourself. And unfortunately, we are almost done with the show.
Yeah.
But Annalie, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And I also wanted to mention a local hotline called Bucklew Suicide Prevention Hotline. It's 415-499-1100. And you can call that hotline as well. And for parents, we have the Marin Mobile Crisis. You can call 415-473-6392. And for students, we have the Bucklew and also the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-8255. So if you need help, or your parents are if you're a parent, you need help with your daughter or son, you can call that hotline. And we want to also give out a shout out to Adrian, Kathleen, and Deborah for being here live on YouTube. But that's all for today's show, and thank you guys for supporting us. Is there any last words for you?
No, just a reminder that you're amazing, that you are valuable, and you're one of a kind. And thank you so much for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.